Howdy friends, welcome back to the shop. Thanks for stopping by. Today I was working on this euphonium. I noticed some things about the valves. We're going to talk about different types of valve guides in piston valves and how you might be able to fix it on the spot MacGyver style. Join me. Let's just jump right on into valves. This is an old valve. And this is the traditional way that it was made. This one is off of an old sousaphone piston. Olds, King, Kind, Pan American, York. This was the traditional place to put the valve guide. It was made out of metal, and it actually threads in on the sides. Notice it has the venting on the top where you would put the cork washers and then the felt over that. This was a beautiful style. As this sat in the groove, the guide slot, the brass would wear, sometimes making burrs on the pistons, but overall this is a really good design. I still love this design because this can we can custom fit this to any horn, and I just love that. I can make the valves, super slick and tight based on the valve guides. So what you'll see sometimes if you have a valve problem is that this has turned sideways like this. Then the valve won't go in the casing. It won't enter at all. Other than that, that's really the only thing that goes wrong with these guys. This is a trumpet piston guide. Normally, you would always have the wide side on the left as you're looking at the number. And what can happen here, so screw this guy. What can happen here is a lot of times we'll see that this is either upside down so that the index is wrong, or we'll take it one step further and you see how this is notched on that side there, and then one side is straight. Now here on this right side, on a lot of the Bach and the Bundy instruments, this is made skinnier, like the left side. It's a skinnier. And so what happens is you can actually put this wide fat over on this side and then drop it down. Now you see how the Yamaha indexes, it doesn't let that wide down. It only goes one way. But it will cause problems if you have it upside down. New Yamahas, I think they've changed the guides a little bit, so you do run into some problems there if it's upside down. If the valve guide is upside down and backwards, or what would happen, instead of this number indexing towards you, the player, it actually is going to index facing the opposite way. And if you remember from the video where I said that, showed you how the valves could easily be blocked, this is one of the ways. And I'll put a link to the description if you want to go back. I think that video was like 1 minute and 10 seconds. But it's worth watching just to check this in the things that you're checking if the piston is backwards. This is a Yamaha. This is for a Yamaha Tuba 321. And what we're going to look at here is the number and the relation to the guide, okay? And then the hole. So what we're doing here, what we're looking at, this is how this is going to index. You should be able to read the number to the left when you're looking at the guide on a Yamaha harmony instrument. the hole will be to your right. At 3 o'clock, let's say, the guide's at 12 o'clock, and the number would be at 9 o'clock. Now, here's what we run into a lot of times. Someone, as you're playing, the stem may get loose, and you pull the valve out to oil it, and let's say that it gets moved, and you tighten it back up, and you oil it, and you put it back in the casing, and all of a sudden it doesn't work. What has happened is that there's a large hole and there's a small hole. You see? So this is where the stem screws in. This is your small hole, and this is your large hole. Now, friends, remember, we want that to go to 12 o'clock, and your number is going to be over here. The hole is going to be at 3, and that guide is going to lock into place there at the 12 o'clock position. Okay, and so it screws in. So here's a little handy little tip. Do you see something in this frame that normally I never talk about using? That's right. We're going to use real pliers. One tip to keep the stem from loosening up when you have it hand tight, snug, at the bottom, put a nice grip on it and give it a quarter of a turn. That's it. You're not trying to tear stuff up and tear it off and be harsh on it, but just give it a slight quarter of a turn, and you'll notice that your stem is not going to back out and get loose as often. Okay, let's talk about another brand. This is a Jupiter, I believe. Okay, and what we see here as we look around, that the stem, the valve guide is loose. Can you see that? That valve guide is actually loose. Notice that on the Yamaha and on this one, I think this is maybe an accent or something, there's a washer. And notice here that we've lost the washer. And so the guide gets loose. This is another problem, very common. And so I'm going to reach over here. I have to have a washer. I'm going to grab this and put it on. Now, you'll notice here that the number, let's see if I can get this up in focus. The number is at the large hole. So it's different than the Yamahas. However, let's look at the face of the valve. Look at this. You see there's a mark there, and that kind of shows where your valve is riding in the casing. And so you just put the little dimple, drop that guy in there. Oops. Put the washer over the top, and then tighten that down. Friends, if it goes into if your guide is in this big hole, what happens is those ports, when one comes down and is supposed to line up with the other, all of a sudden it's like this. So this port is going this way, but this port no longer doing this, it's doing this. So we have air block because your air is trying to go this way, not this way. Okay? So that's what's going on there. This one, a quick perusal around. It's got the washer. The valve guide is tight, but it has that same problem. A lot of times, most of the time, you can look at the striations. We'll go back to our originals. You can tell when you're looking at the striations up and down where it's been going up and down in the casing. because of these vertical hash marks. So there's some good scarring on this one, see, that I'll have to take care of. But this vertical will help give you clues as to the valve guide's position, whether it's in the right spot or not in the right spot. Okay, so I hope that clears up some things for you as far as your valve guide placement. Well, friends, thanks for watching today. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned some things about the way that the valves work and all the different parts go in there. And you picked up some tips on how to tighten the stem to keep it locked into place a little extra. And you got to see me use something that you don't ever get to see me do. I got a special treat. A buddy of mine that I really love to talk about MacGyvering with, my buddy Chris MacArthur. And he sent me a way to take care of Waterkey springs using the pencil. And so I'm going to attach it to the end of this and check it out and see how it works. Chris, I appreciate you, pal. Thanks for sending that to me. Thanks for sending me a tip. But Chris is a longtime friend of mine. And we go back and forth over all kinds of things. And we love MacGyver and talking about the different ways together. This goes back to Waterkey springs and not taping that Waterkey. So he says that you take your Waterkey, okay, got that, and then you take a pencil and you jam the legs down into it, and then you take your Waterkey itself. Oh yeah, see how it gives you a lot more control as you're pushing down in the back. Oh, I lost it because I had to flip over. Oh, this is awesome. Way cool, Chris. Yeah, this gives you a lot more control over what you got going. Oh, I'm sorry, I bumped the camera. I'm trying to do this with looking through a lens. Look at that. And then you can release this and pop them to either side as you get your Waterkey back in there. That's a slick trick. Pencil. Eraser. Hey, all the cool kids keep their pencils in their case if you've already got one in your kit. That's awesome. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. That's good to go. I like that one. Good MacGyvering. Hey, wow, that really did work good, Chris. That's super cool. Very good. That's one to put in the old noggin. Make sure everything is good to go. Thanks, everybody, for the continued support. Comment on your MacGyvering. What do you have? What tricks and tips can you offer? Let's really get something going here. It's starting to take off a little bit. Tell your friends about it. I'm trying to grow this series. And everybody says that I have to tell you to like and subscribe to the channel. So please like and subscribe if you found this to be good content. I look forward to bringing you more. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time around.